Daniel Boone National Forest, home to some of the most beautiful and rugged terrain in the eastern U.S. This region hosts the 24 Hours of Appalachia Rally each year. 430 miles of gravel, rocks, and mud. Of all the 24-hour rallies, this one is the shortest miles, but it's by far the toughest. A true test of your machine and grit. Welcome to the haunted Holler II. I was a little bit lost at the start of this one. I didn't arrive in town until 3 a.m. the night before, so I completely missed the riders meeting, registration, and any kind of important information. The map said this is where the start line was, so I just showed up here for the start time and hoped for the best. Thankfully, there was a couple other people here. Here's me lining up behind ADV Tim. Thanks for all the stuff you sold me. But my goals were I had to find Jed, register, pay, and get my GPSs rolling and ready to ride. I only had about
we're in the right place,
20 minutes from the time I showed up to get all that done. Here's Mr. James Wright of Wright Cycles and the host of Tall Boys and Trackmasters, one of the best dual sport off-road podcasts there is.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
This is Jed and the Care Bear. So like I said, I was able to sign up, got a great number, 007. I had a little bit of issue because my bike was too clean. I put too much SC1 on it and I couldn't get the numbers to stick, but I worked it out. Lining up here, I think I was about fourth in line, ready to go. I was still feeling a little bit scrambled, just like not quite mentally prepared for this. Super tired, running on about 3 hours of sleep and gas station food and coffee. Got the cameras rolling, got the GPS going. Finally, it was my time to go here, pull up, and make sure everything's running. Gives me a 5-second warning, and we're off. Everyone else was doing a wheelie, so was I. Right off the line, you head up this little side street and pop out into the main square of Booneville. It's a one-way street, so you kind of got to loop yourself around this. I believe it's the courthouse. As soon as I started going, I kind of had a little bit of panic attack. Not quite thinking straight. I'm like, am I going the right direction? I swear I was. I marked it on the map, but I don't know why. I had to double check. I went to zoom out on the map and to confirm it. And then when I tried to zoom back in, my gloves just hit the wrong thing, caused a malfunction. Somehow I'm in Google Maps. Had a little bit of a panic attack because I knew my turn was coming. Gloves weren't working on the screen, so I had to pull over real quick, get everything set up. So this was the number one issue I had right here at the start. There was a couple more to come. So finally on the route here, going the right direction. I know I'm going the right direction. I'm feeling good about that. Just shake it off a little bit here. Pretty quick after the start, I realized I didn't properly tighten down my Green Chili Adventure Gear hardcore rack, so my tools were bouncing all over the place. So I had to pull off and take about 5 minutes, get all that set up and cinched down. It probably wasn't 5 minutes, it was probably just like 2 minutes, but it felt like an eternity. Get everything re-tightened down. I'm listening to the bikes go by me as this is happening. Not happy about the situation at all. So this is just compounding on my stress at the beginning of the rally here. Hurrying up, get these freaking gloves on. And we're off. Trying to calm myself down here, just get focused a little bit. You know, look forward, don't worry too much about it, just shit happens. And then just a couple miles later, I missed a turn. So in my head, I'm like, cool, not a big deal, easy mistake. Just stay focused, stay looking at the map, don't worry about it, looking behind me, and here we go. Immediately missing another turn. So at this point, it just kind of hit me. It's like, yeah, I'm freaking tired. I only slept for 3 hours, drove for 7 hours overnight, had a long week of work before this. It was just, you know, don't put pressure on myself to go fast. Just ride and have a good time. So that's what I did. I decided, you know what, screw it. Pretty quick, just a couple miles into the start of the race, I was like, if I'm making this many mistakes, just have fun. Don't worry about it. Forget about everything else. Just go for a nice long dirt bike ride. Very quickly off the start, you end up in some trail sections, 2-track. I don't know if these are considered roads or trails down here, but definitely rocky. And there's a lot of sand, which was pretty fun. It's not something we get to ride much up here in Pennsylvania. But yeah, I mean, right off the bat, you kind of end up in some trails and short road transfers between trail sections. This one here is the first kind of hardcore, I don't know, it's not super hardcore, but kind of hardcore trail section that we came through. At this point, I was starting to feel good. Whenever I get in these tougher trails, chunky, rocky downhills and uphills, that gets my adrenaline going. It makes me feel a little bit better. So here I was starting to settle in. I was feeling good. Kind of shook off those the starting line jitters and just focusing. It's another thing too, from coming from hair scrambler racing. When I see somebody, I got to get them. I have to. So I politely passed him. I hope I didn't scare him coming up on him too fast there. I try to not cause issues. I'm a huge fan of rocky sections like this. For whatever reason, I just like when it's super chunky like that. So when I was fixing the Green Chili Adventure Gear hardcore rack, 3 bikes passed me. That was Madeline, this guy, the first guy I just passed there, and then this person in front of me. So that made me feel better also, that I didn't just like, I know the position doesn't matter. It's a race against time, but I know the position doesn't matter. Like, it's all about your time, so not a big deal, but it's just a mental thing. Sneak on by there. And this is our first deep water crossing. Nice and early. It's nice and cold outside. 40-some degrees, and made sure my boots filled up with water. Trying to sight a good line, didn't know. I said, you know what? Just go through the middle. I don't know how deep, but it was probably over the front tire. It was pretty deep. Nice and smooth though, not a big deal. So I came up this hill and popped out next to this huge rock wall. It's just kind of this whole region. There's these massive rock walls everywhere. It's awesome. You're just riding along. I'm next to him. You can see him off in the distance. Super pretty. You know, that would explain all the rock too. These trails, they are some of the chunkiest trails I've ever been on. They just seem to go and go and go. Lots of fun though. Like that, pop out back onto some gravel and soon back onto pavement. That section was the first taste of the kind of terrain around this region in Kentucky. I was a little worried because you hear a lot about the clay and mud, and thankfully for this one it wasn't very muddy. It was like just enough, it was just wet enough to feel good. So this spot here is something I've actually looked at in the past. It's called the Southeast Via Ferrata. If you don't know what Via Ferrata is, it's worth looking at. Whenever I passed that, I knew I was in the Red River Gorge area. And coming up on Miguel's Pizza, this is my first time in this region. I've just done some research on it in the past. I didn't expect it to be as beautiful as it was. It was really incredible. Everywhere you look, I mean, it's just a great area. There's Miguel's Pizza. But yeah, if you ever have an opportunity to get down to this region, just for camping for a weekend, or if you like rock climbing, whatever it is, this is definitely a worthwhile spot to come to. And to be here in fall was just perfect. This spot was funny. I had no idea what was going on. This car's pulled off with the yield sign. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna keep going. And then boom, this wall. It's like, oh shit, there's a tunnel right here. Later I realized that this was the Nada Tunnel. Pretty famous attraction down here. Super fun to go through. You just pop out on the other side and boom. Rock walls, fall colors. It's a really special road to be on. Super pretty area. I think I've said this in every single one of these videos I've done. Even if you don't really have an interest in finishing this rally, which you should try because it's quite an accomplishment, but even if you don't, just come do one to ride the areas, because these areas are, you know, you wouldn't necessarily be able to link all these other areas together unless you really know the region. So that's what's so nice is these people, the people that build these routes, you know, curate them and handpick the best of the best. And it's just, I think it's so cool that you get to do this all at one time. 430 miles all at once. I was kind of surprised on this one also at the lack of pavement. There was really a ton of dirt and a ton of gravel. Super nice to kind of be off the pavement. It made the pavement feel like a nice treat, honestly. But, you know, we want to be in the dirt, right? It's just something I've learned from growing up riding and being on trails all my life. I don't trust mud holes. You end up buried in a mud hole once, you stay out of them from that point on. There's an example coming up here where I kind of just said, screw it, I'm going to go through this one, and it was 3 feet deep, and I just had no idea. So the one time, I kind of say whatever, and it ends up being an absolute bottomless pit. So for me, I'd rather take a little bit of time, go around them, not have to worry about digging myself out. There was a significant amount of this type of trail on this rally. These creek bottoms where there's multiple routes through everything. It's very rocky everywhere. The creek bottoms were made of this slick, moss-covered, algae-covered rock, so you had to be careful on that. But a lot of water crossings, a lot of mud puddles. These sections seem to be kind of endless, honestly. They were a lot of fun, though. A spot where I said, whatever, I'll just go through it. It's probably not deep. Nope, 3 feet deep. Soaked, absolutely soaked from that. Right here you'll see an issue that I had on this rally where I'm looking down a lot at my GPS. I have it bar mounted. I've since ordered a Adventure Spec, like I think they call it like their light tower or whatever, to kind of pull the navigation up closer in front of my face. Because riding in these super rough sections, I just couldn't see the phone. So I came up on this monster mud hole. I didn't even see it until the last second. Thankfully, I was able to get stopped. Then I saw this other route around it. So I decided, you know what, just go around it. Don't even bother trying to ride that berm next to it. Because going around it is faster than digging myself out. And then here, boom, another one. You can't even see it until you're right on it. Yeah, these things look nasty. Another funny thing about this area, the mud stinks worse than any other mud I've ever been in my entire life. It smells so bad. It's kind of hard to explain. Little hot tip, if you come by another rider taking a pee, make sure you yell at him. That's important. I know he appreciated that. So I was showing some of these clips to a friend of mine, and he said, "Man, good thing you rode your 500 and not your Tenere." It made me think, like, could you do this on an adventure bike? And the answer is yeah, you absolutely could. Like there was somebody that finished, he was first or second. He did it on a Cove 800X. That's a 400-pound bike, you know. If you're the kind of guy that's dropping your bike, picking it up all the time, probably not good. This one kind of shocked me. I came up on it, and you can't really see it here because of the GoPro effect. But that, that's got to be a 5-foot drop off, and then landed on logs and stuff. It was really steep, really big drop off, muddy. Thankfully there was easy enough path to get around it, but that one was gonna trip some full-size rigs up for sure. Another one of those things you can't see it until you're right on top of it either. A lot of times when you're getting into these trail sections, you're going right past somebody's house. So just a quick call out, going by somebody's house like this, make sure you go slow, you know, shift up a gear so your bike's quiet, your truck's quiet, whatever, just to be courteous. At this point I was starting to feel really good. I don't know, I was just good and warmed up. You know, I had some tough sections, had some good sections. Yeah, I was just feeling good at this point. I see my gas lights on, so we're somewhere right around the 80-mile mark here. And let me mind you, this is still the first lap. There is tons more of this type of riding left on the first lap alone. A lot of the other past 24-hour rallies, a lot of gravel, a lot of like dirt roads. This one is a significant amount of trails, and tough trails. Nice thing to see in this region. It might have been because it was fall time, a little bit more cold, so the side-by-sides were hiding. But there was a lot of like Toyotas and Jeeps out here doing some four-wheeling. That was nice to see. Somehow they're easier to get by than side-by-sides. They're bigger, but they're easier. And look at this. Mr. Drew Faulkner, host of the Moto Adventurer Unscripted podcast. If you haven't given that one a listen, go check it out. It's one of my favorites. And Drew, thank you for the photos you got of me. I really, really appreciate you being out there. So at this point, my gas light has been on for quite a while. I had my dad and my girlfriend meet me at different spots with gas and food. There wasn't a lot of gas stations along these routes, and they helped me drive down overnight since we had to come down so late. So I figured, hey, instead of sitting in one spot, why don't you guys come out and meet me and, throw my gas can in the back. So that's what we did here. It's kind of nice just to stop and say, hey, grab a little bit of food, get some gas, and get moving. I kept them pretty short, just basically as long as it took for me to fill up and take a drink and get out of there. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how long this first lap was, but we're basically halfway through the first lap here. Coming through this cool quarry section. Looks like a working mine still. Passing the media guys back there. This spot was cool. There's a ton of sand. Like I said before, it's not something we get to experience much here in Pennsylvania. So it's just fun to get out there and like, it's so soft and just you kind of float on it. It's pretty fun. Where to go here. It's another one of those situations. If I had my navigation more up in front of my face, I probably wouldn't have had to slow down to look down like that. Next year, that'll be a welcome change. some of that stinky mud. So here's some guys jeeping, and like it's pretty chunky here, and I like couldn't look down, and this guy just points left. I'm like, cool, all right, we'll just trust him and go this way. And it worked out because I was cruising, didn't want to take my eye off the what's in front of me, to look down at the navigation and stare at a little tiny line. So one of the mistakes I made on this rally is like I used to keep my tire changing kit and my toolkit separate. And I would attach one to the hardcore rack and one in my backpack. For this one, I stuffed them both in a 6-liter bag and strapped them to the top of the hardcore rack. There was a lot of really steep downhills in this and a lot of like rock drops. And that bag was just too big. It kept hitting me in the butt every time I'd go over one of those steep drops, so I couldn't get back far enough. So after this first lap, I was just kind of tired of dealing with it, and I just took a risk and left my toolkit back at the truck because I felt it was honestly a little dangerous at that point, kind of kicking me in the butt and throwing me over the bars. So quick call out here. If you guys have any curiosity or interest in doing these rallies, please feel free to reach out, shoot me an email, comment, whatever. I'm happy to talk about getting you into these and figuring out what the best way to do that is. They're definitely worth coming out and trying at least once. Thought this way was going to be smoother, and I ended up screwing myself because of that down tree. Then I have to start on this muddy up section with like these little rock ledges here. Thankfully the traction was pretty good because I was in like 5th gear. I think I was starting to get a little tired at this point. It's something that happens on these rallies. You have these cycles where you feel good and then you're dead, and you feel good and then you're dead. Just sometimes you get in those tired spots, and it bites you in the butt a little bit. Skirting around this mud, getting soaked. I will say that I've already said I love this type of trail. Rocky, rugged, a little bit muddy. But throwing the leaf cover in it was a whole nother layer. Because you just couldn't see anything. I'm not sure if like it helps or hurts, but yeah, there were some sections where you couldn't. The trail looked smooth, but it was just chunky rocks. Nice little road break right there for a second before right back into the trails. Passing some Jeepers. This is a pretty fun section. Grip was pretty solid. Wasn't too muddy. Just, it felt good. I could see this, if it was like raining, I could see this stuff being a real nightmare down here. this little bottleneck right here, there's really no way by. I didn't want to mess with this Armco barrier right there. I could see that just throwing me right on my ass the second my front tire touches it. So I just waited a second, got a little gap, and passed on by the Jeep and the Subaru. Yeah, everyone down here was super nice. They saw you coming. They usually just like left you a little gap. They weren't too worried about it. So coming up on this next section, I was definitely tired at this point. You know, I was just riding lazy. My form was struggling. I was in one of those bad spots, just trying to pull it together. Come down this hill, and I don't know why. It was kind of tall, a couple feet. This ledge is probably a couple feet tall, 2.5 feet. But my front tire slipped here, and then I just stopped here. I'm like, okay, now I gotta get up this. And it was really muddy. Every surface had a ton of mud on it. And I just like crawled at it for some reason. I don't know. I was just, the lack of sleep, being tired, the lack of food, I was just brain dead at this point. And ended up spending a couple minutes here. Trying to get my ass over this the hardest way possible instead of just turning around and going back. Yeah, I don't know why. It's like no matter what you did here, there was just no traction. We'll talk about the tires I was running here in a little bit, but my goggles are coming off. I'm hot and I'm frustrated. Oh yeah, let's go over here and try this even more muddy side. That didn't work. So here I figured I'd give it one more go. Nothing. Normally with a set of tires, you just static zap this and it's fine. A set of gummies, but not these tires. Here I'm just like, yep, that's it. It's time to turn this bike around. I don't know why I wasted so much time and energy doing this. That's what I should have did. I don't know why I didn't do that in the first place. I should have backed myself up a little bit, just hit it. But here we are. So at this point, I just spun the bike around, got reset up, and hit it like I know how. And guess what? It wasn't even a thing. All right, let's keep moving. Right up here, I found one of the deepest mud holes of the day. It just dropped off. It It was deep. But happy to be out of that section, and happy to be moving here, getting a little bit of airflow because I was getting hot. I'll just bring it up again. This is definitely some of the coolest riding I've ever had the privilege of doing. Just these creek beds, the rock walls. It was great. Loved every minute of it. Taking my time because there was a crazy turn on the map. I ended up coming around this corner, and there was more rock ledge, more muddy rock ledge. So I saw that guy was stuck up there. I thought about it for a second, and then I saw somebody else went straight up that hill. I'm like, yeah, I'm not picking my bike up again. So I just went this way. The guy behind me actually ended up following me. Cut like a tiny little corner, that rock ledge off, and we were golden back on the route until we got here. Thankfully, I was able to bunny hop over that second mud hole. It was super deep. I think I might have got the guy behind me, but back on the road and rolling. There's neat old farm or whatever it was. It was pretty cool. Way the hell out there in the woods. With massive trees growing up around it, so you know it was old. You know, I purposely left this video pretty long. I cut out so many trails, like intense trails, not just like dirt, but like stuff like this, where it's like rock ledges, super deep ruts. I cut so much of that out of this video. It's hard to kind of explain the amount of off-road riding that was on this route. It seemed like it was endless. The last creek bed section I was in, it felt like it was literally never, ever, ever gonna end. But there was an extreme amount of off-road on this, and it was all just like this, picking your way through these creek beds and constantly rocky, constantly going around mud pits and whatnot. This is funny that you can actually see the Jeep guy pointing, because I just thought they were in the middle of the trail, but they weren't. They were like parked off to the side of the trail. Goes to the wayside there, and I completely missed it. Yeah, since there was a lot of these creek bed sections, navigation was a pretty fun challenge. There's like multiple ways to navigate these bottoms, and the GPS just kind of shows a route through, like it almost like seems like it follows the creek. So you kind of got to pick and choose your lefts and rights, and as long as you're moving in the general direction, you're good. Constantly looking at the GPS, constantly checking yourself. You know, I'm still learning the best way to navigate these. riding with this gentleman was pretty fun. It's just nice to kind of spend some time on the trails with somebody. No idea who it is. Hopefully he watches and comments, but yeah, just nice to kind of follow someone, and especially through a section like this. I guess just look at this. Super fast, wide open, sandy creek bottoms. Completely dry too, no water in it. It's just incredible spot. You know, we turn off, but you can see if the road comes through here and to the left, you can just keep following that. Who knows how long that goes. We had a pretty fun rip up this hill, definitely cruising. This road here was a welcome break. He's telling me just to head on by. Give him a thumbs up, say, hey, yeah, man, it's a good time. But yeah, nice little break just to sit for a while and relax, let the arms chill out, let the legs chill out. And then here we are, just a few miles later, right back into the creek beds. This one I was hurting pretty bad. I was like, oh, I'm done with these creek beds right now. Even though I like riding these, I was just over it. This one, you were riding through a ton of water. It seemed like it went on forever. I had so much water in my boots. Whenever I would drop my heels, I could feel the water level rising around my heels. And it was cold. I don't think it went over like 50 degrees this whole day. A lot of it too, there's that slick, mossy, like flat rock under you got to be really careful of. You see here, I'm taking my time. I'm like, oh, it's deep over there and it's slick over here. Which way do I go? Through these sections where it's that slick mossy rock covered in leaves and everything, I basically just like, I'm in second or third gear here. You can see I'm just like slipping the clutch and like essentially idling my way through these. You touch the gas, it just spins. And stay off your front brake in those sections. And as I mentioned before, I just can't show the amount of, like, how long these sections are. They just go on and on and on and on forever. I decided to run the Motoz Enduro IT tires for this one. They were fine. I mean, they were definitely good on the road. And they were DOT legal, but they were fine. But I don't think I would run them again. They're just too hard of a compound. Even being intermediate terrain for situations like this. Too many wet rocks. I was just skipping all over the place the whole time. I think what I'm going to try next is a set of Trackmaster 2s. Everyone seems to love them. They have a cult following, so we're passing Drew Faulkner again. But yeah, we'll try those. And here, finally, we're back. We're at the finish line of the first lap. That's right, this is just the end of the first lap. There's still 2 more laps to go after this. So whenever you come into the finish line, you come through the arch here, and then you just see she's raising her hand, you tell her your number, they write down your time. For this one, they had a hot lap that you could do. It was like a grass track. And you know, if you get a good time, you get some points off of your overall score. Unfortunately, that didn't happen for me, but I headed over here. I met up with my dad and girlfriend, and then got some gas, and then went on my hot lap.
No, I gotta do this. How long is it? Do you know? Oh, okay. I just don't have much gas left. It's gnarly out there.
The real reason I got gas is because it let me take a little bit of an extra break before I had to head back out.
Yeah, I gotta take this thing off too. Tell me when.
So it was a pretty simple grass track, but he just kind of told you where to go. It wasn't actually marked with arrows. So that was a little confusing. I had to slow down a couple times to look at that, and, well, it didn't matter anyways. So it was pretty fun though. Nice to get out there and just hammer on it. So you turn through the gate here and then headed up the hill. And then once you got to the shelf, you made a right. And then at the end of the shelf, you made a left up over the hill. But it was kind of confusing once you were out there. I should have slowed down a little bit. Grass is my enemy. I'm terrible at grass tracks. I always wreck. So up here, I had no idea where to go. I kind of cut off this corner, run over a log, and it kicked my rear really hard. Back down over the other side of the hill, coming through the gate, towards the finish line, back towards the barn here. Cruising pretty good. I don't even know what I was doing. I thought I was slowing down enough, and the rear end started to slide, and it ended up kicking me off the other side and high-sided it. Blew my gloves apart, ended up, like, I don't know how the hell that happened with the glove. The left hand didn't even touch the ground. Banged on my shoulder pretty good. I either like bruised or displaced my ribs. I don't know. They hurt pretty bad. Yeah, it was not a soft landing, that's for sure. But finish it out. I wasn't last on the hot lap, so that's something. Jed giving me some shit for not being able to ride.
What's this?
And
Break your fingers?
yeah, man, that was it. That was the end of the first lap here. In the next couple of weeks, I will have lap 2 and 3 out in one video to show the rest of the madness of this rally. This was the finale for the 2025 season of the 24 Hours of Appalachia. And I'll tell you what, it was a good finale. At this point, I just got some food, did some tweaks on the bikes, and refueled and headed on out.
Oh yeah.
I appreciate everybody watching. Go ahead and give me a like and subscribe, and keep an eye out for the next one. And definitely sign up for some of these next year.